Still not quite right. This new setup is just a little difficult. There we are. Let's see if that works. I'll have to set the camera back further. Okay, everybody. Hello. This is the 15th of November, 2022. I'm Roy Potter. I don't really anticipate anybody being here. Looks like somebody showed up. Welcome as you come in. It's now plain to see. This is going to be a short video, and I've called it it's plain to see. This entire thing with the FTX, the money laundering scam through Ukraine, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. This is just one of the many tools that they've been using. Our politicians who have been pushing all of this intervention, all of this interventionist foreign policy has nothing to do with right and wrong, with helping governments, helping people to obtain their freedom, etc. It's about them laundering money, whether it's through the military-industrial complex and the weapons manufacturers, or this thing like the FTX. There's a lot of information out there on it right now. We've been saying for a long time that all of these things that our government in particular, but almost all of the Western governments, and that would also include Australia and New Zealand, etc. All this has been about stealing from you to pretend to give to somebody else because they're trying to protect their democracy, which isn't really our job anyway, and then getting the kickbacks through those programs. It's rampant. It's been going on for a long time, but now with this FTX thing, what we've been saying has been happening. There's now more than adequate proof of it, and people need to go to jail. Now the problem is all of our law enforcement agencies and our military are all corrupt. No one's going to hold these people responsible because a lot of those folks are involved in this too. So the question is, what do we do? I saw a comment from a retired colonel this morning on Twitter where he basically says that things are out of control, right? He admits that. But they won't come out and say what really needs to happen now. The ballot box isn't working, okay? We've seen that. All of it's rigged. This whole thing in Arizona is a cluster F, if you know what that means. It's kind of military parlance. But it's deliberate. It's all planned. It's all carried out to the letter by people in power, okay? And there's really only one way out of this now, and I don't like that, but there just isn't another way. You're not going to do it through the ballot box. You're not going to do it by any means that they allow you to use. Julie Kelly and her brother, I always forget his first name, Jesse Kelly, have been doing an outstanding job on showing a lot of the corruption, especially on this entire January 6th thing, the J6 deals. A lot of that, we're finding out now that, gee, with all those informants of the FBI, etc., that were in the Proud Boys, etc., they never really heard any talk about, a takeover of the government. They never really did, and yet all that's being suppressed. And then the entire information, the DOJ is the testimony. It's not. I hate to even call it testimony. When the DOJ during all these trials on the I got to be careful how I say it. It's really tough to work around these words so that you don't get in trouble. The fix for the sickness, right? The depositions on that, the DOJ is trying to hold out because they're afraid that it'll make the public angry. Well, that's exactly what should happen. And I want to point out a situation that I was in when I saw my first pretend incident. I'm not going to say the word FF, okay? The first pretend incident. I was a young Army officer, first lieutenant, and I saw one of those pretend situations occur that they could have stopped and not blown out of proportion, but they did because it meant more power, more money, etc., notoriety, promotions, etc. Okay, so I've seen these things happen, all right? And they're rampant. They're throughout our entire corrupt system. And the law enforcement agencies, particularly the FBI, as I've been pointing out for years, is protecting these people because they're part of the problem. The FBI is now their Gestapo, their enforcement arm to make sure that their illegal, corrupt criminal activities are protected and that you're put on notice that you can't resist, that you can't get out there and demonstrate and protest these corrupt things. So it's all coming out. What are you going to do, folks? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? In the description box below are 2 video links. One's to a BitChute channel, David Knight's. He did an excellent expose of the FTX corruption. And again, as I said, this is just one method that they've been using. There are many others. And Mitch McConnell needs to be tarred and feathered. I'll just say it, okay? Or worse. And all of them. I mean, this is just disgusting now. This is way out of control. The second video is a link to, and I'm no fan of Elon Musk. Okay, I want everybody to understand that. But the reason why I put this video link in the description box is because it talks about a lot of the things that we're concerned about. I don't consider Elon Musk to be a savior. You know, there's no honor amongst thieves. You know, these thugs there, and I don't want to falsely accuse Elon, but there's some things in his portfolio that honestly should disturb people. But regardless of that, as I pointed out in a tweet I sent this morning, you know, whether you believe in the Bible or not, there's no honor amongst thieves. The wicked destroy the wicked to try to get ahead and try to take control. All right, and usually that's the tool that takes corruption down. One wicked will take another wicked, or one evil will take another evil down. It's like I've said for a long time. We as a people, there's not much we can do to prevent the corruption and criminality of our government anymore. The entire apparatus is such that it's all loaded against you. You're the criminal, even though you're trying to do the right thing. By merely speaking out, you're a criminal, according to Joe Biden, because, you know, you're fighting against democracy. Democracy is resilient. In other words, you know what that means. It means corruption is resilient. And that's really the truth. But this thing with Elon Musk, it really shows a lot of what's going on from that elitist perspective that's willing to say it, okay? So that's why I put it in the description box below for you to peruse that and to listen to it. As I've said, corrupt government, there's not much we can do, even as a people getting together, because dissent is illegal. Pointing out corruption is illegal. Saying that that the claims of science aren't science is anathema. You can't say things like that because you don't believe in the science, and no one is ever supposed to believe in science. That's a religion. It's supposed to be skepticism, scientific skepticism. Everything's been turned on its head, ladies and gentlemen, and it's all there for everyone to see. And I'm so amazed that so many people refuse to see it. I keep jumping away from the country thing. The people inside the country are going to have a hard time fixing this because the apparatus has been put into place not to protect you against criminals and foreign enemies, but to protect corrupt government and political and corporate leaders from you. So, as in the Bible, whether you believe it or not, it doesn't matter. The history is still there. By the way, the camera on my phone, the lens, is actually in the lower left-hand corner. I should be looking at that instead of at the screen, so I apologize. It's something I'm going to have to get used to. I just switched the phone around. The way corrupt governments are usually taken down, 99% of the time, isn't by people in the government, even though sometimes it appears that way. What really happens is that other governments come in and destroy the evil and corrupt governments, because evil destroys evil. That's why I say prep, pray, and stay out of the way the best that you can. Okay? A lot more I could say this morning. I wanted to come up before David Knight comes on, just to give you a heads up. I suspect that everybody here already knows about this FTX thing and the WEF connection and the connection with Mitch McConnell and, of course, all the other politicians and corrupt POSs that claim to be for us, and they're not. And it's prima facie that they are not. And this entire thing in Ukraine is wrong. I'm not saying I like what the Russians are doing, but what we're doing is absolutely 100% evil. Don't let your sons and daughters get involved in this. I'm telling you. Or with China, for that matter. Saw the David Knight video. It's on Target. Who was that said that? The virtual cockpit. Great. Okay. Look, I'm not going to stay here much longer here. I just wanted to make sure that you knew that I've not gone away. I haven't dug a hole and stuck my head in it and trying to stay out of the way. It's just, it gets frustrating when people that can do something won't. Again, Jesse and Julie are doing a great job, Kelly. Jesse and Julie Kelly. There are very few others out there, others that are doing it, but I want to point them out. Most everybody else, and they've pretty much given up on the system. There are a couple of pretty good court cases. That's the one that I was telling you about with Julie Kelly, where she says that she's thankful to the attorney for starting this court case and trying to get these depositions made public. And the DOJ is saying, no. The public will get upset. People get upset at these people, and who he's talking about are people like Fauci, et cetera, et cetera. Biden has now, well, he doesn't do anything. He's nothing more than a stuffed shirt. But he has now extended the COVID emergency until April, even though he said that the pandemic's over. Do you see what's happening here? They can't let go of you. They're going to strangle you. They're going to take the air out of your lungs and pummel you to death. They're going to starve you to death. Oh, he wants to regulate methane now. Stop methane. Well, that means cow farts. They're attacking the very essence of life. Block the sun so there's no photosynthesis. Destroy carbon dioxide so the plants can't breathe and produce food. Carbon dioxide is not a poisonous gas. It's not a greenhouse gas. It helps plants to thrive, which provides food for you. It's all a lie. They may as well have just come out and said they want to cut off your oxygen supply. But they can't say that. So carbon dioxide's the problem. Methane's the problem. Sorry, I'm looking at the screen again. As you can tell, I get pretty hot under the collar. People are afraid to say that the ballot box isn't going to work. That our politicians and our leaders need to be tarred and feathered, whether symbolically or for real. They need to be removed from office. And you're not going to do it by the ballot box, obviously. There are a few good ones up there. By and large, they're not there. And although you have God-given rights to protect yourselves against this tyranny, they say it's illegal. And of course they say that. They can go and they can cause coups in Ukraine, in Iran, in Libya, try to do it in Syria, etc. That's okay because they're the government, right? They're doing the right thing. Yeah, But you have a right to set your government correctly on course. But they've made it illegal to do that, even by peaceful means. You can't do it. So all you retired officers out there that keep pushing the system, and I really get tired of this thing of pushing Trump. I really get tired of that. Do I trust DeSantis? Hey, he voted for the Ukraine war when he was in the Senate. He voted for funding it. Not the war at that time, but the coup. and sustaining that coup, essentially, is what he did. Do I trust the same? I don't trust any of these people. One is presented to you as a better alternative than the other, and they're all corrupt. But I will admit that, as far as the rhetoric goes, DeSantis seems to have it. Oh, that's just great. I'm gonna have to turn that off. All right, I'm just blabbering on here now, and I'm a little tongue tied this morning because I'm just the American people just roll over. Oh, not the left, the BLM, Antifa, the army of the FBI, the armies of the FBI and the corrupt system. They're out there. They get away with anything they want. Oh, they'll arrest a few of them and then let them go. The Balkanization of the United States is happening, and it's not going to end well. And maybe that's a good thing, because in that scripture that, I have some questions about those scriptures, but it does say you got to come out of Babylon. You have to separate yourself. You have to stand in the holy place. And I've talked a long time about what that means. Holy means separate. So stand in a separate place. Get out. They're going to be destroyed, ladies and gentlemen. They're being destroyed now. But the problem is you got people like Harari to say that they're building arks for the elites to escape the destructions that they themselves have engineered for you. It's not God doing it. He's just letting them, because so many of us are so corrupt and degenerate ourselves. We've swallowed the evil pills, the degeneracy and the disgusting, corrupt lifestyles that they've projected to us as being something that's moral and just. And I mean, I could say a lot, I can't. Probably said too much already. So what can you do? Like I said, try to get out of the way. I don't think there's much else you can do at this point. That's all I got for you. Check the description box below. Maybe I'll put some better thoughts together in the next few days and have a really decent video on some subject that may be uplifting, but it is getting harder, which is another reason why I pulled out of this. But again, in the description box below is David Knight's presentation on FTX and the WEF, and Mitch McConnell and all those pricks, demons, crooks, criminals, tyrants. And also that little thing on Elon Musk, which is, I think it's interesting. Again, I don't trust Elon. Walking around in a Satan suit doesn't really get my loyalty. But no honor amongst thieves. Sometimes they squeal on each other. Maybe that's what's happening. All right, I got to go. Out here.